Daniel Jones. Daniel M. Jones, known for his platforms, the Aspie World, is an international best-selling author of Autism for Adults and a prominent video influencer. His award-winning YouTube channel, The Aspie World, is the largest YouTube channel focused on autism from the perspective of an autistic person, dedicated to promoting autism awareness and understanding. Through engaging content, Daniel fosters positive change and actively supports charities like the National Autistic Society. Diagnosed with autism, OCD, ADHD, and dyslexia, Daniel leverages his personal experience and social media influence to educate others about neurodiversity. He also made history by organizing the first ever neurodiverse panel discussing ADHD and autism at VidCon US, the world's largest video convention. Daniel M. Jones. Daniel M. Jones, connu pour sa plateforme The Aspie World, est un auteur à succès international avec son livre Autism for Adults et un influent créateur de contenu vidéo. Sa chaîne YouTube primée The Aspie World est la plus grande chaîne dédiée à l'autisme du point de vue d'une personne autiste, visant à promouvoir la sensibilisation et la compréhension de l'autisme. À travers un contenu captivant, Daniel inspire les changements positifs et soutient activement des organisations caritatives telles que National Autistic Society. Diagnostiqué autiste avec des troubles obsessionnels compulsifs, TOC, un trouble de l'attention avec hyperactivité, TDAH, et la dyslexie, Daniel utilise ses expériences personnelles et son influence sur les réseaux sociaux pour sensibiliser à la neurodiversité. Il a également marqué l'histoire en organisant le tout premier panel neurodivers consacré au TDAH et à l'autisme lors de VidCon US, le plus grand salon vidéo au monde.
Hey, how's it going? My name is Dan Jones, or actually a lot of people know me formally by the name The Aspie World, which is like my online pseudonym. I'm a YouTuber, author, international keynote speaker, and also I'm an educator to help educate people on the ups and downs of autism and how to help and overcome certain things. There is no magic wand. You can't just say, okay, well, do this and everything will be fixed. But what I do offer is practical advice, tips, and strategies to help people with issues in their life if they are on the autism spectrum. So I am doing this presentation on overcoming autism and ADHD moments of inertia, or inertia in autism and ADHD. Now, what does that mean? So if we think about the word inertia, what is inertia? Because it's a big fancy word, we don't really know. But it's kind of like this. Newton's laws of motion depict that an object in motion can't deviate from the line it's on or stop because it's moving through space. This is called a moment of inertia. Or the exact opposite can happen. An object that is not in motion can't just start going into motion because it's just staying there. Kind of like this. If I am currently hyper-focused on a project and I'm working, and something else happens, I can't deviate from that task because I'm constantly working on this one thing and I really want to get it done and I want to see the end task because it's dopamine rich, right? And the other part of it, which is I have so many different things to do, I want to start one of them, but I can't start any of them. So that is the moment of inertia. Now, many autistic individuals and ADHD individuals will come across this moment where you'll be kind of in the middle of, I've got this project to do, I want to start this project, and I also have something that I've already started and I need to get it finished, but you can't get around to doing it. It's almost like the idea of all of these things becomes a little bit too difficult for you to even think about, let alone actually start doing. And a lot of people think that this is, biting off more than they can chew, which in fact isn't the case. It's not taking on too many concepts or too many things. It's actually this moment of inertia that's happening in your brain because it's down to the fact that you're wanting to start something, but because you have so many things to start, you kind of hit a blockade and go, okay, well, I can't do any of it, and you just kind of implode. So practical strategies for overcoming the moment of autism inertia. Now, this can happen in people with ADHD and people with autism and ADHD, because it's not specific to ADHD, but it's primarily because of ADHD that, or the hyperactive part of the brain that will cause this to be a thing. So you may find some autistic individuals who are absolutely fine with just getting on with the task and doing the thing that they want to do because they only have one task. However, when you have an ADHD brain and an autistic brain that kind of like, coexist and talk together, the ADHD brain is going to want to pull you in every single direction because it's like, hey, this over here, oh, that over there. And this is where it starts to break apart that kind of hyper focus to just do that one thing. You're being pulled in every direction. And this is why you get this moment of inertia. So this is relevant for people who are autistic and ADHD, or people who are just ADHD, if that makes sense. So I developed this idea because I come from this like idea that anything is completely doable. You just have to you have to know the process and how to do it. Like nothing is just impossible. A lot of people will sit down and they'll be diminished by the fact that they say, I have ADHD, I have autism and ADHD. I can't do those things. And it's not necessarily true 100% of the time. Actually, a lot of the time, it's like, I can't do those things in the way that other people do them, so I'm going to do them my way so I can achieve those things. And I'll give you an example of this, okay? Before I get into the hacks, I want you to change the way you're thinking about something, expand that space of knowledge that you understand and see from a different viewpoint. I have a book out called Autism for Adults, which is just here behind me. And when I was asked to do this, the publisher said to me, you've got to get me like 100 pages, by November, right? And at the moment it's like July or whatever. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I'm like, I can do this. Like, I know everything, that I want to write in the book. Of course I can do it. Awesome. So then I sit down at my desk and I think to myself, okay, I have dyslexia, autism, and ADHD, and I need to sit down and write a book. So I sat down and I was like, okay, Uh, oh, gotta do something else. Gotta put the tea on. Gotta put the television on. Gotta go get something to eat. Come back. So when I decided that, I was like, okay, okay, okay. All those things are done. I'm gonna focus now and just do this one thing. I have dyslexia. To sit down and type out an entire book was never gonna happen. So I was like, dang it, what am I gonna do? And then I had an idea. I was like, how I learn things is I go running, right? I go jogging pretty much every day. And when I'm jogging, I'm not listening to music. I'm listening to audiobooks or podcasts because this is how I learn. And the reason this is so important is because I can speed up the podcast or the audiobook to 2 times the speed in which it was recorded. And that allows my brain to be at the same speed as the thing I'm listening to. But to reinforce the education and learning, I realized that I'm having tactile feedback, which means I'm hitting the floor with my feet as I'm running, and that shock is going all the way through my body and giving me deep muscle proprioception, which is ingraining into me. It's reinforcing, kind of like if I said to you, "Hey, how are you?" Or if I said to you, "Hey, how are you?" and I punched you in the arm, you would find one of them way more engaging than the other, right? Because you'd feel the hello from the punch. You wouldn't feel the hello from just a wave. So this is where I get tactile feedback understanding. So I was like, okay, this is the way around it. Typically, people would sit down at the desk and just type, type, type out a book, blah, 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 blah. But me, I'm going to find a way around it. So my way around it was to go running on a treadmill for 1 hour every day for 8 days and talk to my phone because iPhone has this cool thing like a voice dictation software. So like you can dictate to your phone and it will map it out like that. So I did that, and then I checked it into an AI thing that just kind of made sure that it's called Grammarly and made sure that the grammar was all correct and everything. And then I gave that to my publisher. Cool. And in 2 weeks, I had a book ready to publish. Now that was an autistic mind changing the way in which I approached a potential problem to a solution that would get me to the result I wanted, right? Which is like the moment of inertia. And I think about it like this. There's no such thing as problems. There's just potential towards a solution. Because if a problem exists, we know that there's a solution for it. But what is the solution that we're going to take? There could be multiple solutions. Like, if there's we're driving on a road and there's a log in the road, we know the solution would be to not have the log in the road, right? So it's not a problem, it's a potential to fix the solution. Like, what is the potential we have? We can move the log with the car, we could push it, we could try and go over it, we could plow over it. Can we drive over the log? There's so many different ideas that we could take to get the solution. So this is what I mean. So I'm going to tell you right now how we're going to do the autism inertia, overcoming autism inertia. So rule number one. This is very interesting. When we're trying to start a project or try and start something, we tend to not treat it as something that we already are conditioned to do. And what I mean by this is something called cinema mode or movies, like the movies, like movie cinema. So when you go to the cinema, you are asked to turn your mobile phone off. Like put it on silence and put it in your pocket. Don't answer calls. So when you're in a movie theater, you actually put your phone on silent, and you also don't look at your phone for like I don't the entire duration of the movie. And that's cool about that because you know this. You have this ingrained in you. You go, yeah, I'll put my phone in my pocket and I'll just sit down and watch the movie. So now, when you're sitting down to do a project, you don't apply that same rule. In fact, what happens most of the time is people sit down to do a project or get a piece of work done. It could be academia, it could be actual work, it could be a project you're working on, and they'll just pick the phone up and start doom scrolling on Instagram and like, checking out like, what celebrity news or whatever, texting their friends. No, no, no. If you have projects to do, treat it like you're in the movies. Get your phone, put it onto silent or kind of do not disturb mode on your phone, and put it into a drawer. This reinforces the fact that you ain't going to touch it. Because if you can put it into a drawer, keep it away, you win. That's number one. This creates in you a mindset of, hey, I'm going to do some work now. Let's get onto it. Okay, so this is the juicy part of it. This is the part that gets you kind of really into like the nitty gritty of it. Every single uh, be it academic project, a home project, a work project, career, anything that you are trying to achieve has to have steps. You have a starting point and an end point, but you have to move through steps to get there. You can't just appear there, right? Which is what we're talking about. Moving from that moment of inertia so that you can move through space towards your goal. So each step is a potential small problem in itself, or as we now know, small solution. And we need to think about it in a way that other people don't think about it because we think about things in the way that other people don't think about it. And this is how we do it. You take a piece of paper and then you write down every single thing that you need to do. So we go, okay, maybe it could be 10 things like I need to learn to drive. No. So I need to get a job, right? In an office somewhere, you got an ideal job. I want a job at Google, right? Which is like, about an hour away from where I live. I want to buy a dog and I want to buy a home and all these things that you need to do, right? Your goals list, like the things that you want to do. So that everything, and you might be thinking, okay, Dan, but it's not just goals, it's projects and work and stuff. Everything. It could be finish a task for university, complete a report for my manager, go looking for jobs, right? List them all out and then take that list and then look at it. And this is an important step. Look at the whole list and say, if I could eradicate one of these first, which one is going to give me the most return? Like, what's going to make me feel better? What's going to improve my condition? What's going to urge me towards life more? If I just get that one thing done off that list, which one is it going to be? And then you pick that one off and then you get a new piece of paper and you put it at the top and you say, okay, this is the item that I want to attack. And this is the time frame I'm going to do it in. So you set a time. You say, I'm going to do this. I want to get a job, right? And I'm going to give myself 6 months to get this job. So you've got a 6 month time frame. You know what you want. And then something magical is happening here, by the way, guys, and I'll talk about it in a second. And then you list out all the things. So I need to get a job. What do I need to do to first get the job? I need to understand. You need to write down every task and step that is going to get you towards that goal. So we know that getting the job is the end goal. So what's the first thing? I need to understand everything intricately about that job. So research job. Next task. I need to be able to wear a suit to the interview. Buy good suit. Then interview tactics. Learn interview tactics and processes to achieve a better, chance at winning the position at the job. Then it's learning to drive, because if I don't learn to drive, then I won't be able to drive to the job. So it's take driving lessons, buy a car. And you can see how all of these things stack up. And this is what you do. Every day, you take one of those things and you apply it to your life and say, today, I'm going to just learn about the position that I want to be in. And that's what I'm going to do today. That's it. And then you take it off. And every day you do this, something magical happens. First point, when we make that first list, the initial list of all the tasks that you want to do, you were taking the mental kind of cloud and the massive strain of all that stuff that's sitting on your head. You're taking it out and you're putting it onto paper, which takes it away from here. So you're not getting this like mental pressure. You're actually getting it onto paper and you can see it. And actually, a lot of the time, you'll notice like the tasks that you have to get done are a lot less than what you see, of what you think. Sorry, they're less in what you see than what you actually think. Then, by taking one of those out and actioning them onto a piece of paper, even just writing those down, you're starting to move out of the sink of inertia. By getting a piece of paper and writing out all the things you need to do, you've already taken your first step to rocking yourself out of the moment of inertia, or in this case, autistic inertia, because you're taking a step, you're taking a valuable step forward. And why is this important? Because with every step forward you take, you have a kind of mental check mark, like, yep, check, I've made the list, cool. And that check of I've done that one thing gives you an instant rush of dopamine. It's kind of like that age-old hack. Like if you need dopamine in a day, like if you're really burnt out, if you're an autistic person or ADHD and you're super burnt out, you need to complete a simple 3-task list. Make bed, have a shower, eat some food, or get a drink of water. Write those 3 tasks down on a piece of paper and tick those off. As soon as you tick those off, you'll feel so elated and you'll have a rush of dopamine because you managed to complete a task that you needed to do. So with my inertia task sheet, listing out all of your things that you need to do that are causing you problems or the things that you need to sort out, and then taking that list to one side and then getting a new piece of paper and taking one of those things off the list and then writing down every step that you need to take to complete that, to get to that goal. And then you action one of those every single day until you get that goal. I can guarantee, not only will you rock yourself out of the moment of inertia because you'll be used to doing this task, this planner, but you'll also achieve 9 out of 10 of the things that you want to achieve. So, I can't say that you 100% of the time going to get everything right, but 90% of the time, you're going to achieve the thing that you want to do, the goal you want to do. So you have 2 things. One, your life is just being upscaled 10x to an amazing level where you're able to attack problems, potentials towards goals that you want to achieve within a process that's rocking you out of the moment of inertia. So you don't even have to think about, oh, I've got inertia, I can't do it. You're already there. You've already got it. You're already like, nailed it. This is how you move from being in a moment of inertia to outside of that moment of inertia. And the only other thing I can say on this is that the reason that inertia exists within our brains is because people on the autism spectrum, especially ADHD, which is ADHD and autistic people, they are more prone to having PDA or pathological demand avoidance, which is basically when someone says to you, hey, you need to do this task, you'll have a demand avoidance. There's a demand to do a task, you'll avoid it. Because you see the world as being way more chaotic than the average person or the typical person sees it, which meaning that you're always like that toy buckaroo, when you like load things onto the buckaroo and he like kicks back when he's at it, when the little, it's like a little mule or something, right? And you hang bags and coats and stuff on it. And by the time you put too many things on it, it kicks back, right? And all the stuff falls over and you lose the game. So it's buckaroo, right? That you're already at that tipping point of buckaroo. There's lights and sounds and smells and heat and clothing and everything else. There's people talking. There's chatter. There's road noises. You're sitting on a chair. It feels uncomfortable. And then somebody says, "Hey, I need you to do this thing." No, go away. So PDA happens by default because you're already at this tipping point of buckaroo. You take control. You silence your phone. You put it away. You get 2 pieces of paper. You make your list, and then you take one thing off that list, and then you start it out. You will always win if you follow this formula. And this is an age-old, tried and tested formula. I use it every single time, and it's absolutely fantastic. Now, I'm open to any questions anybody wants to ask me on this process or anything else that I teach. You can get me at the Aspie World, so it's TheAspieWorld.com. Or you can just email me, theaspieworld@gmail.com. All my socials are just at the Aspie World. I would love to have a conversation with you. And yes, I hope this has given you some insight and helped you to achieve some of the goals that you want to do in life and rock you out of that moment of inertia. Thank you for watching.